Hello, my friends. We're going to do the astrology for the week of June 2nd through June 8th. So let's just get right into it. I got the charts ready. There it is. Okay, good. Not every aspect, not every day has a planetary aspect. So we might not talk about everybody, but we'll do what we can. All right, let's get started. Monday, June 2nd, first quarter moon. Again, if you have your Llewellyn book, it will say second quarter. It is both. Some people just label it a little bit different than others. So let's look at what that is all about. It's in the sign of Virgo, and that means the sun and the moon, the first quarter and the last quarter is when the sun and the moon are squaring each other. And here's where we have it. There's the sun at 12, Gemini, 50 minutes, and here's the moon at 12, Virgo, 50 minutes. Mutable signs, when they're square and in opposition, they're going to be the same modality, cardinal, fixed, or mutable. That means there is something that works in harmony, even though all of us tell us, and we tell you that squares and oppositions are challenging aspects. Challenging doesn't mean impossible. Challenging just means that we are working towards something. We're focusing on something. When we have this first quarter moon, it's either 1 week away from the new moon, which it is, the new moon that we had on May 26th. It's also 9 months after a prior new moon that was in the vicinity of where this moon is on this chart on this day. So either way, I'll talk about both right now. So on Monday, June 2nd, with the moon in Virgo, it's making throughout the day, it is making a boatload of uncomfortable aspects, which means today, Monday, when I say today, I'm always talking about the chart that's on the screen, by the way. As this moon moves through Virgo right now, it is Virgo and Aries is 150 degrees from each other. It's called the quincunx. So things are difficult between Virgo and Aries. And as the moon on Monday, June 2nd, is moving through Virgo throughout the day, it's making a hard aspect to Neptune, to Saturn, and as well as over here to Pluto. So we have this configuration throughout the day on Monday, not even talking about the moon square. When the moon in Virgo, which is all about honing in on the details, and really sometimes we can, even though it's just the energy of the day, it doesn't mean you have it in that sign. If you do, then you're really quite activated by the other transits. Back to today, what we have with this is that it just means that there is so many things, that details that you're focusing on, that all of us should be focusing on. It will vary from each of us, depends on where this moon in Virgo is moving in our circle, right, in our chart. But overall, the moon in Virgo making quincunx, which is creating a yod throughout the day, between midnight and 6 a.m. is when all of these aspects happen. There's adjustments. I mean, we could wake up Monday morning forgetting what we were supposed to be doing for work, the schedules we have, because, it's just things have been going on in our heads, right? There's just a lot going on Sunday night into Monday with this kind of aspect. So the focus on the details, the focus on our routines, things can just get out of whack. The thing that really can slow that down for some of us are going to be feeling very discombobulated when we wake up on Monday morning, or not sleep well on Saturday night and just have a really hard morning on Monday, just to, get our shit together so we can just get in gear. I know, not fun, but the square between this one and this one, but the square is what we're talking about for the rest of the day as we get into the nighttime. And the sun moon square, Gemini, Virgo, the mutable squares are not difficult to me. It can help us just to organize and find the next best step for whatever has your attention, that's, getting you all wound up. Whatever has your attention, whatever has our attention, that we're, constantly feeling like we have to make adjustments. The square, which is that first quarter, tells us that. It shows us that. It looks like half a pie, by the way, is what the moon will look like in the sky, if you can see it. And so that's what we have to focus on. Your health, your wellness, your everyday routine, the details of whatever is important in your life at this moment in time. So pay attention to that. I drank a shake. I'm feeling a little burpy. All right. The next chart that we have is June 3rd. There's no major aspects. If you look at, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I didn't tell you. Lunar gestation cycle. Yay, I'm glad I caught that early. 9 months ago, we had a new moon in the same vicinity as this quarter moon is right now, and that was at 11 Virgo. So that was on September 2nd, 2024. So go back to your new moon intentions, journaling, rituals, whatever you want to call them, whatever you do. Excuse me a second. I got to get myself comfy. Go back to that date, because that's why I always recommend we journal during new moons, along with other times of year, and really put our intentions out there as to what it is that we're looking for and what we want. I want you to go back to September 2nd, 2024. What were you initiating? What were you focusing in on? What routines or patterns, health changes, exercise routine? I already said routine. What were you wanting to initiate? What goals did you have? Because now, with that moon in the same vicinity as a first quarter moon, it's telling us that now we can make some progress. It's not flawless, but we get to make some progress. And that's what that first quarter moon, 9 months from now, we'll have a full moon around the same vicinity. 9 months after that, we'll have the last quarter moon around the same vicinity. And 9 months after that will be a total of 3 years. And that will be in September sometime, 3 years from 2027. And it will be in the same vicinity. So that's why they're a family. It gives us a longer look as opposed to just trying to get things done in 1 week. So those are two individual ways of looking at moon cycles. I do mentor work, so if you want to really dig into that, check out the mentorship program. On the 3rd, I wanted to just cover a little bit. I just went to the middle of the day. We still have on the 3rd no major aspects. The only thing that happens is by the middle of the day, the moon and Mercury are now square. So it just adds the component of Gemini information. Mercury is the ruler of Gemini and Virgo. So these guys are working hand in hand right now. It squares that lunar south node. So we're getting to the middle of activating the nodes. The moon is coming to that. And so that just means that hone in on and pay attention to your words, your thoughts, your patterns, and your routines, because we're including the Gemini energy as well as the Virgo energy. And that's what Tuesday, June 3rd is like. Now, we'll always feel these aspects a few days before, some of them even longer. I will let you know about that when the time comes. Let's get to my next page. Just like to have my notes, I can't think of what I want to say. I have good notes. On the 4th, throughout the day, this is just a noontime chart because the aspect I have isn't until 10:30 at night, but throughout the day, we have Venus making a sextile to Jupiter as they're both at the end of their zodiac signs. This is just the middle of the day with the moon now in the sign of Libra. And I did that because the ruler of Libra is Venus. And so it adds a component. The moon will be opposite Saturn and Neptune throughout the day on Wednesday, June 4th. And so that gives us this opportunity to not to get it to stay in alignment with, but to get into alignment with what? I lost everything I was saying. I totally lost track of where I was. Apologies. The Venus in Libra, just resetting. Disassociate for a second and reset. It's like the computer. Buffering. Bear with me. The moon in Libra is that balance and harmony that we're looking for. It is an air sign. So again, more information is necessary. But it is Mercury is the ruler. I mean, Venus, here we are. Venus is the ruler of Libra. So that's why I wanted to mention it, as well as early in, in the middle of the day. The moon is opposite Saturn and Neptune. And it just brings us back and forth between what I want, what my partner wants, what I want, maybe what my boss wants. There's just a back and forth that can be going on, even if it's just in our heads. Okay. Now, the aspect that I wanted to talk about that's happening all day, and it doesn't come to complete apex, if you will, on until 10:32 p.m. Eastern, and that is Venus at 28 and 55 degrees of Aries, and then Jupiter's over here at 28:55 Gemini. And that's a sextile, super easy. That means that it's the same polarity when they're a sextile. Fire and air is the yang, so it's very much assertive. So Venus and Aries, she's just finishing being in that feisty sign. She's not a fan of that sign, but she's been in it as long as she usually is, when she moves through here once a year. But she's just very feisty, that goddess, that fighter, that warrior goddess. There you go. Just fighting for what's important for her, right? And that sextile to Jupiter in Gemini, just about done that sign. It's been in there a whole year. Playful and upbeat. A lot of good socializing going on here, but we're honing in on what we need ourselves, because we have something at the beginning of Aries and something at the very end of Aries now. And so what that comes down to is that we're beginning and we're ending things. We're learning to stand up for ourselves. There's just something here for us to be able to do that, to stand up for ourselves and just to get into alignment with, our how we want to express our words and what we want to do. Because again, Jupiter's only got, let me see, 5 more days in the sign of Gemini. So yeah, very spontaneous. It's lighthearted too, because it's a sextile, so it can be very lighthearted. Could be that you just, how you just when you meet somebody or however it is, and you can just talk all night. Yeah, it's that. And before you know it, it's like sunrise. Gosh, I haven't done that in such a long time. Yes, I remember those feelings. It's been ages. It's not just youthful. It's not just for the youth. Anyways, so there's that. I guess I'm just remembering, reminiscing. Who wouldn't want to? The next aspect we have is another sextile. We have a few sextiles this week, which honestly makes things easier because we don't have to be, it's not stressful. I mean, we have a little bit of stress going on with Mars and the North Node because we're just fighting for what we need. But this aspect here with Mercury at 23 Gemini, sextile Mars at 23 Leo, that's air and fire, so super feisty. We've got this. I've shown it to you before. Let's see if I can get a different pen up today. Yeah, we'll leave purple up. Yeah, Mercury's right there, and there's a sextile to Mars, and then there's that sextile over there to Venus. So there's a sextile, and they make a trine. That's just, it's all action. Mercury sextile Mars is all action. Yeah. And it gives us, and then that Venus sextile Jupiter, communication, information, and action. I love it. I think this is a really nice thing. It's nice for tying up loose ends, finishing up a project when you have to think things through, or what's the right word? Brainstorm something that's a really creative expression of something. Perfect for that. I like it. Yeah. Because the mental energy is high because we have fire and we have air and we have fire again. So that mental energy is really high. Thoughts, ideas, projects. I know this is a week away from the posting of this forecast, but a week away from the date I'm posting it. I'm posting this on May 28th, but I'm already feeling it because, I've just been doing a lot of writing. It's on my blog. I know you guys, if you're not on my blog, on my email newsletter, it's basically, I know here on Patreon and this weekly forecast, I also now have a membership that's the same as the Patreon one that is over on YouTube. Some people you guys on YouTube like YouTube and you guys on Patreon. Anyways, so um, you should join my website. There's no fee for that. And you just go and give me your email address. And when I put things on my blog, you're notified. I do that only every couple of weeks. So I am not somebody who will email you every other day. I just won't. I'm never an automatic emailer like that. So go get on that because and join the website. You'll be notified. You can also join the newsletter and I will email it to you. Big forecast on Saturn in Aries is what I'm talking about. Yeah. All right. Talked about this one enough. Here's Venus now is entering the sign of Taurus. So it's called ingress and it moves into Taurus quarter of 1 a.m. on Eastern time on Friday, June 6th. So if you're on the West Coast, it's quarter of 10 p.m. And here it is. She's in her own sign now. So she's going to be comfortable. It's like getting home and getting your comfy clothes on. Not like wearing your office or your suit, your office clothes or whatever. It's just getting home, getting comfy, enjoying it, having your favorite meal ready or the ingredients so you can make your favorite meal. Taurus rules the senses. Venus is the ruler of Taurus. She is just so happy to be home. It's been a year. I think it's about 11 months or so since she was in Taurus. So it's just because it takes her, she kind of hangs out with us. She's really close to us and the sun. So it doesn't, takes her about a year to come around the zodiac too. And it's not exactly the same as the sun, but it's been a while and she's happy. She's home. This brings us a very grounded energy as opposed to that feisty, fiery Aries energy that she was just in for the last 3 weeks. Now she's in her own sign and she's sensual and she's grounded and she just wants things to go slower. So, like I said, instead of rushing around and getting fast food, you come home and you have all the ingredients that you want and you just make a meal and then you spend time and it's cooking it and preparing it. That takes more time than eating it most usually, at least for me anyways. And so that's one way to use it. Use it in whatever way that you value. Some people don't like cooking. I get it, but just to like to eat, things smell and look good. Treat yourself when we have Venus in air and in Taurus. It's just so helpful. It's great for, like I said, just feeling grounded and stable in a world that's pretty effed up right now. It's nice to have something that helps us to feel grounded and stable. And again, that big blog that I did on Saturn in Aries talks about how to, reclaim your personal power, how to strengthen your consistency, where to start, how to feel and take actions you need to take so you feel stable and on and on. So you're building this inner structure. I'm going to be doing gazillions of videos about that blog. I took that blog and I'm going to be making a couple months worth of short videos for it. Yeah, stay tuned for that. The shorts are on YouTube, the reels are on Instagram and TikTok. So that's Venus and Taurus. We get to play with that. It's just lovely. And she's going to stay in that sign for a little while. Let me see how long. It should be around 3 weeks. It will stay in there until it looks like somewhere around July 5th, July 4th, July 5th. The day-to-day calendar will tell me more. There's Venus. I'm looking. Yeah, it's the 4th. There's a lot going on that day. Yeah, Venus is gonna her conjunction to Uranus is gonna be like at the end. It will be on the 4th as well. We'll talk about that when we get to it. That'll be quite that'll be fun. But here she is right now at 0 Taurus, inching closer. It'll take her 3 weeks to get to conjunct Uranus. In the meantime, something to definitely look forward to. But before we get to that, we still have Venus in the sign of Aries until we get to this date, June 6th. And Venus in Aries is just super feisty and she really goes after what she wants. moving on. Also on June 6th is Mercury in Gemini, sextile Chiron in Aries. Now, this is an opportunity for some healing conversations. Let's go find that aspect. There it is right there. Sextile Chiron in Aries. Chiron's been in Aries for over a year now, and I think it has. I think so. Let me tell you, that has been a place where we're feeling triggered and wounded, and healing needs to occur. And even though this is just a super easy aspect, but Mercury in its own sign just gives us an opportunity to communicate what we need to communicate, if you are still working through some form of healing process that needs to happen. All right. Because words and having conversations can really, mend broken fences. Some, not all. Gives you that opportunity to do that, to mend those broken fences. All right, then we have Mercury conjunct Jupiter, and that's on June 8th. There is no aspects on June 7th. So Saturday, I will just tell you about it. Let's take a look. Yeah, on late in the day, on Friday night, the 6th, the moon entered Scorpio. And then throughout the day, it's going to be in the middle of the day, late in the night. Yeah, in the morning on Saturday, June 7th. I'm looking at the ephemeris here. The moon's in Scorpio, quincunx Saturn, opposite Venus, quincunx Neptune, square Pluto. Difficult. Whew. See, it's like we have like a back and a forth this week where we're feeling some stability. And what's that stability? Because we do have Venus in Taurus. That's so helpful. But with the moon moving through Scorpio, the moon is always intense when it's in Scorpio. Feelings, my feelings, your feelings, we tend to feel a lot deeper when the moon is in Scorpio, that fixed water sign. It can be really quite intense. Yeah, it's not an easy process for real. So that's the moon in Scorpio on the 7th and into the 8th, all of the 7th and all of the 8th, just an hour or two on the 6th. But this chart that's in front of us, I want us to look at, and this is Mercury and Jupiter making that conjunction at 29 Gemini. Oh my God. You know what this is to me? This is just like, I know that information is just coming at us like a freaking fire hose. And this can be just such an overload of information, something is going to snap. I don't know what. You need to look at where it is in your chart to figure out what's important for you so you don't have to, like spiral or tweak out, right? We used to call that. I don't think that's probably not a good way to say it. It meant something ages ago, but not anymore. You don't want to spiral. This could create some, the thoughts in our brain spiraling. If you have anything at the 29th degree, this conjunction between Mercury and Jupiter in Gemini, that analytic degree, that is just where everything is so condensed. It's like putting espresso in your coffee. It's delicious if you like that. I don't. And it adds flavor. But this, whenever, especially something like this, 29 Gemini for 2 planets at that point, ooh, that intensity is just amazing and it's overwhelming. Give yourself some grace, give yourself a break. This is on a Sunday. And we need to pay attention. This is, I'm asking Spirit for some info too. I'm not making major predictions of any kind, but Gemini does rule all of that information, like I was saying, whether we have internet's blowing up and things not getting the information we want, that could be that the news we think we're getting is just even bigger than ever. It could be that Gemini rules traveling, local traveling. Jupiter rules extended travel, like foreign travel for wherever you are, whatever's considered foreign to you. All of those things can come to a head. So there's some big stuff going on here that is just um, coming to our attention, and find out where that is in your own chart. Okay. Yeah. I know I'm paying. So I'm a Gemini. So this is the day before, 2 days before my birthday. Oh my God. They move away from 29 before I have my solar return. So I'm actually happy about that. For real. All right. Later as well on the 8th, we also have here's Mercury that finally enters Cancer. So 0 Cancer, a cardinal point. It's not that much different. The Mercury Jupiter conjunction is at 4:18 p.m. Eastern, and then Mercury enters Cancer at just before 7 p.m. Eastern. Mercury in Cancer, we are, Cancer is ruled by the moon. So now our communication is going to be ruled by the moon, ruled by our emotions for the next 2.5, 3 weeks, right around 2.5 weeks, because that's what Cancer does. Cancer is that how we feel, how we emote, our homes, our family. So every couple of days, as the moon is changing zodiac signs, which it does, it spends 2 to 3 days in a sign, depending on where it is on this bar. If it's high up in here, it's going really slow. Down in here, the speeds vary because it's not a perfect circle around us. It's got this elliptic, which is very off, like an egg, right? So as the moon is shifting to a different zodiac sign every couple of days, that will also um, tint or the way that communication and information is coming to us. It will always be Mercury will be ruled by the moon for 3 weeks. Let's see how long that lasts. Okay, I'm looking. Here it is. Goes in here on the 9th, on the 8th, late at night on the 8th. So 1, 2, it's just 3 weeks. It's just one day shy of 3 weeks. So yeah, it is 3 weeks. It goes into Leo like June 27th, approximately. And when it does that, let's find out. Yeah, it's on the 26th. Mercury will move out of Cancer and into the sun sign, Leo. And so what happens with all of this is just that with Mercury and Cancer, we're just feeling, and our feelings, we're wearing our feelings on our sleeves, and the way we're talking and communicating. It's quite something else. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you guys. I hope you're enjoying the weather. We've had a couple of good days of weather. It's so hard to work when the days are beautiful out there. We had 10 days of shit weather. It was terrible. It's actually longer than that. Thank you guys. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it. I need it at this point in time. So you're appreciated. Blessings, everybody, and namaste.